You've seen the work we put day in and day out, challenging myths, debunking old wives' tales, and exposing poor breeding practices. Ugh. We spent years researching, studying, and applying real-world experiences to perfect the art of science of breeding. Why? Because you deserve the best, most accurate information out there. But to keep this mission alive and growing, we need your support. If you found value in the Bred to Perfection live show, take a moment, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our content. It may seem small, but every like, every subscriber, and every share helps us reach more breeders who need to hear the truth, who want to learn what it really takes to create, maintain, and improve high-quality strains. This isn't just a YouTube channel, it's a movement, and you're a vital part of it. If you believe in what we're doing, if you want to help others discover the power of true breeding, help push this channel to the top. Like, subscribe, and share. Together, we make a difference. Thank you for standing with us. Now, let's get to work. Entertaining, informative, and educational. Inspiring content that makes a difference.
This is the Maximus Troy Publications Broadcasting Network.
Join the Academy. This show is brought to you by the Breeders Academy, where we will help you to increase your knowledge of breeding, advance your skills as a breeder, and help you to improve the quality and performance of your fowl.
As a member, I'll provide you a roadmap that you will need to create a true family or strain. Starting with a cock from one breeder and a hen from another breeder, no problem. We can help you to turn your flock of hybrid crosses or mongrels into a pure family or strain, and show you how to continually improve that strain each generation. We'll start by showing you how to select your seed fowl and how to turn that seed fowl into a high-quality foundation strain. Our proven breeding programs and specialty courses are designed to take you step by step through the breeding process. And best of all, I'll be there to help you every step of the way.
We urge you to check it out. You have nothing to lose, and you can cancel at any time. You also have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Simply go to www.breedersacademy.com to sign up.
The Breeders Academy will not only change the way you think about breeding, but improve the way you breed your fowl. Okay, welcome to another episode of Bred to Perfection. I'm Kenny Troiano, founder of the Breeders' Academy, and I'm here with my wife Nancy, and our guest for today is Peter Brown. My mind is totally somewhere else. I'm telling you right now.
He is our guest star.
Yeah, he is our star for the show.
Yeah.
That's not what I meant to say at all. The things that come out of your mouth when you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
I'm like a kid who doesn't think what he's saying before he says it. So, so how you doing, Pete?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, good. Nancy, retired?
Yeah.
No. No.
Neither am I.
Elaborate what you were saying in the green room, because you were trying to tell him what.
No, that's all right. You can save it for later if you want to just teasing her.
Oh no, yeah. We've been going here and there and getting anywhere from 4 or 5 to 6 hours sleep a night, getting to bed about 3, then getting up, creating content, doing stuff for the Breeders' Academy, getting things ready for the Bred to Perfection Live, doing more advertising, more social networking, things like that. But I'll tell you what, Spaz Getty was telling me that
the things you say when you're not paying attention. Okay.
Spaz Getty was telling me about how the weather's really nice right now in Australia, and his birds are coming along really well, which is really good. Yay. And I said to him, well, yeah, but you got those monstrous spiders. And he says back to me, this is scary. He says, the big ones aren't too bad, but the ones, and they're friendly, but the small ones are the more dangerous ones to worry about. Like, oh God. No way. I'm staying here. I deal with my black widows and that's it. I don't care.
Yeah,
we have a lot of new spiders in the house lately, and we got Tony walking on furniture lately. So
that's true.
I keep looking them up on Google and say, you're fine. You know, so I don't know. She's wearing out the furniture. So today we're going to be talking about a couple things. And one is the Power Hill bandage, revolutionizing wound care for poultry and gamefowl breeders. And this is something that Pete's been talking to me quite a bit lately, that he's been working with people and found a way to get to heal wounds faster. But the one I'm really excited about is building a stronger bloodline from the inside out, talking about the gut and the immune system, which is something that I think everybody needs to listen to, because without a good gut, you don't have a good strain, you know. So you want to start with the bandage, the healing bandage?
Yeah. So what it is, it's a human bandage, and it's a new technology that takes the bandage has what they call micro batteries on it. So it takes the electricity from either the animal or yourself, and it helps the immune cells line themselves up so the healing starts almost immediately. Plus, with the electricity at the wound site, it about 99% plus sterility of the wound. So the healing is all it's all about healing rather than trying to fight infection and everything else. And certainly with chickens all the time, when they get hurt, we're always fighting an infection afterward. So this was just a different thing. I got a woman that got a hold of me actually on my Google account, which I rarely use, and had this duck that was attacked by a hawk, and just literally ripped its eye completely out of the socket, no eye, and most of the tissue around the infraorbital space and the skull. And it was ugly, no question about that. But yeah, go ahead.
So is this the bandage, first of all?
That's what the bandage looks like, basically. They've enhanced that to so you could see that there are actually batteries on it. I think it's phenomenal. The interesting part about it is you can cut it to size. I forget off the top of my head what the cost was, or somewhere between $25 and $30, depending on which size you get. They come in different sizes. But And on the human side, I've had friends that actually used it. I've given them to a couple of different people, and one person had a pretty severe wound from a cat scratch. Cat jumped up on the person and just raked down the arm, and they put the bandage on, and in 2 days it was completely healed. No scab, no nothing. So
Wow.
results might vary with other people, but this here depicts the duck that what you're looking at. Um, she had put some sort of gel on this prior to using the bandage, so that the middle of that, while it might look like there's an eye there is no eye. It's gone. And to the left is just the skull, and all the feathers missing around the eye. This is a 3-month-old Cayuga duck. So it's kind of interesting too, because had a couple of things going for us here when we were able to take this and heal it completely, 100%, with no infection. The woman herself was a nurse, so she knew about keeping things clean and that kind of stuff. But the duck acted like nothing happened. I was walking around fat, dumb, and happy, eating, drinking, making noises, and that kind of stuff. And I think the fact that it was young, it was about 3 months old, so it was still in that growth phase to a degree. But to me, it's amazing. Other people might think it's not a big deal. Other people might have said, put it down. This is how the patch was cut out and put over the that area of the eye. And
How did they get the patch to stay there on his eye like that?
I think she used a first off, it comes with a gel which activates the batteries, so it acts as the liaison between the wound and the battery, so that bandage doesn't lay right on the tissue. Okay, and I think she used some sort of glue she got from the where she works, but you could put anything you want on it. They make tapes now that you can, they stick, but they don't pull everything apart. But this is I forget the actual time frame on this one, but this is really just a few days. The whole thing took right around to completion from the time I got involved. About 40 days for this to grow completely back. And
Wow.
I think that's pretty phenomenal when you look at it. You can see here how it's really closing up. I'm pointing at it here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing.
We get the message.
But it's
Nobody is looking at you right now. They're looking at this wound and going, "Wow."
well, the object is people. I've always been an advocate for the birds. For me, it's whatever length the person who has a bird wants to go to save the bird. Makes no difference to me. If you want to give up in the middle of something, that's fine. They're your birds. I just try to find ways to get around the obstacles that are, in our way, which are a gaping hole in the head, figuring out how it's going to work. And I had experience with this before on 2 different occasions with bumblefoot, where we were able to take that and heal it pretty well. So I figured, why not? Got nothing to lose. And this is the finished product here, basically. And this did fill in even more. This is where the eye was in the middle. This continued to fill in. And it's just phenomenal to me. I mean, it's most people would have looked at this and just put the duck down. But like I said, the duck just acted like nothing happened. And that's it, completely healed there.
So you're able to save valuable birds that you would normally cull.
Mm-hmm.
It would probably get infected. This helps the process.
Mm-hmm.
It speeds up the process, reduces the risk of infection. So what does it do? Does it kill the bacteria? The electrodes, does it actually kill the bacteria?
The positive negative charge keeps the bacteria from growing.
Yeah.
They use it a lot in humans where the people are diabetics and have the diabetic sores and that kind of stuff to help them heal, because they don't heal. And that's why a lot of people lose a leg or whatever, as far as the diabetics are concerned. So, it's another tool in the toolbox. And for me, looking at it, I think it's fantastic. The interesting part about it is I never spoke to this person. Okay, it was all done through texting and such. And I hate texting. And the other interesting part, at least to me, other people might not think it's a big deal, but this duck and its mate, she coos to him when she's going to eat or drink, or she's just going to walk around the yard and eat grass, and he stands, and then she bumps him in the direction she wants to go, and if he gets out of line, she bumps into him again and pushes him along. I think it's pretty cool.
Is he blind in both? I mean, he doesn't have one eye, but the other eye, is he blind?
No, she's blind, obviously blind in that eye. There isn't any eye left, but the other one, no, he can see that side, but he can't see anything on his right at all. Yeah.
Are they reusable? Because they're really expensive. Are they reusable?
No.
Okay.
No, but a little bit goes a long way. I mean, like, she's got plenty of bandage left over. I think they come 3 or 4 to a box. I don't remember.
And you can cut them to size and then use
cut them to size. Yep.
Okay.
Save that material and reuse it.
Did you say where you can get them? I can't remember if you told me or not.
My most unfavorite place. I know you can get them at Amazon, which I hate with a passion. So I hope they go bankrupt tomorrow.
Everything from Amazon. So, okay, let's back up a little bit. Sure. The duck had a gaping hole. It reminds me of getting your wisdom teeth pulled, because, you can feel back there in the back of your mouth, and you're like, oh my God, that's the size of the Grand Canyon back there. And amazingly enough, the gum, it just closes right back up to where it's, level with everything else. Can we go back to the Band-Aid itself, Kenny? So those little brown spots there, those are actually batteries?
What they call them micro batteries, yeah.
Micro batteries. And what are the blue dots?
Haven't got a clue. They
okay.
don't, I have not communicated directly with them. I've liked a couple of their things and made a couple of comments about what I did with it, and they thought that was pretty neat, but obviously that's not their market. But I just found it randomly, came up on my Facebook feed, to be honest with you. And I looked at it.
It'd be interesting to see how this works for like predator attacks, because those can be pretty bad. And there's times when it's like it's your favorite bird. It's the bird you named predator gets. And sometimes they're not quite dead. If you could save them, you might be able to.
That was the case here, that this was, one of her favorites. And the hawk killed several others. I mean, it was like mayhem. But, when she got a hold of me, I said, I told her, I said, I'm no surgeon, but I said, I think I can help you fix it. And that's how we started the conversation and went from there. So,
yeah. So just know that if you have any questions about your birds, healthcare, disease prevention, you need medications, make sure to contact Peter. Just go to his website, firststatevetsupply.com, and he can help you out. He's the only one I refer people to. A lot of people out there, I would call them medication peddlers. They don't really know what they're talking about. They really don't understand the diseases that are out there. They don't even understand the medications to use properly to deal with the diseases. So make sure you contact him. Also, for my members, just go inside the Breeders' Academy. On the left-hand menu is the healthcare page, and there's a bunch of articles. There's a bunch of videos and audios with Peter and Dr. Gallardo. They'll probably answer most of your questions about the most common diseases, and there's some other ones in there too. So it's a really good page on that particular subject. So make sure to check that out too. So, anything you want to say about that before we leave that subject?
No, I think that's about it. I think everybody get the idea after you look at the pictures. And again, not everybody's going to want to save that type of animal. There's those people that believe that you're being cruel, and I don't believe so. That I always leave it up to the owners. They're not my birds. I'm along for the ride. So, yeah.
Okay, would I be okay in saying that, guys, don't waste your money on the Band-Aid for pox, because those look really icky at first, but they do heal up pretty good on their own.
The easiest thing with pox, I mean, if not to get into that subject too deep, but if just plain ordinary iodine applied to the pox, the lesion after it starts to scab up, after a couple, you do that for a couple of days, the scab will dry up real quick, go away, and be done with it. So you can get them over it that way if you have to, especially if it's in the mouth. You know,
Oh, that's
eyelids.
the hardest part.
Yeah. But
I'm not big into vaccinations, but Merrick's and pox is probably the only ones I would suggest to vaccinate for most people at least.
Yeah, I look at what a person's exposure is. If you're a person that's bringing in birds, you are wiser to vaccinate for Merrick's than you are to just not. And I'm dealing with a person right at the moment who is having an issue, doesn't vaccinate, and it's been shown to be Merrick's in the flock, and they're kind of beside themselves. But the thing is, if you need to question people you're buying your birds from, and hopefully they'll be honest with you. If they're vaccinating, then you need to vaccinate, because they just start vaccinating and spending money for the heck of it. Okay, they've had the issue, which is not a big deal. It's that's in a lot of places, but the issue is that the vaccine does not prevent the bird from becoming infected. It only keeps the symptoms under control, and that is dependent upon the bird's immune system. So people wonder why birds later on die because. Say, well, I died from Merrick's. How come? Well, because their immune system failed. When the immune system fails, done.
Yeah.
So so the bird's going to shed both viruses. They're going to shed the vaccine virus, which is non-oncogenic. It's not going to help you vaccinate the rest of the flock. It doesn't hurt anybody. But it's also going to shed, more than likely, if it's been exposed to the field strain, that's the one you got to watch out for. And if you're not vaccinated, you've got to stand a very, very good chance of getting Merrick's. Doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while for the virus to become dominant on the farm, but sooner or later,
I find that some families are more susceptible than others. I mean, I don't have a real problem with Merrick's here. I know it's ubiquitous and all, but I had one family of blues, American game blues. We called them minor blues at the time, and I would lose half that. I'd lose half the offspring every year to Merrick's. But none of my other birds would get it, and they're all raised the same together and all that. I finally got tired of it. I just couldn't advance the family because all the birds I thought were going to do really good would get to a certain age, and then they'd become symptomatic for Merrick's. And I said, okay, enough of this. They were the first to go. I don't want to work that hard, and nothing I was doing was improving it. Trying to build to. I know that some believe that you can. I know I talked to Brian Reeder, and there's a lot of studies and a lot of work done on Merrick's as far as building a disease-resistant flock or strain to Merrick's. But I wasn't making any progress whatsoever with that one. Yeah,
and there's a reason for that. And
I'm doing it all wrong.
No. I'm trying to remember the acronym that they use for it. This doesn't come to me right at this moment, but we can do it another time. But the part that you want to impart to the other bird, one bird to another genetically, doesn't come through true all the time. That's where the rub is. And I truly believe that a lot of people, and I think you can accomplish it a lot easier in a very small flock, okay, versus a big flock, because you have just that many more birds, and that many more birds that are going to continue to pass it regardless, okay, of the genetics and whatever you're trying to do. It's like you trying to find that flock there with those birds, those blues. You couldn't do it because it was overwhelming, because you'd breed them, keep these, and then they'd get it, and then this one, it just was not going to work. You might have been able to do it if you did it long enough, but who wants to go through that aggravation? So yeah. I never believed that if you looked at go back and look at Dr. Hutt's work, which was fantastic. Okay, it was all small groups, and then you can accomplish it, I believe, in a small groups. And there's some things I'm working on, playing around with Merrick's, more stuff. We can get into that another time. But
yeah, we'll do a show on it.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. And I went back and I looked at a lot of his work, a lot of his stuff that was written. I've got all his books. Okay. And you can do it in a small group. So a lot of people but here's the other thing. Everybody who's out here that has done it, you still don't know if you get a real challenge from a real nasty Marek's virus. Is that going to work? That's the key.
Is there a virulent strain?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
So, because I've never seen
multiple virulent strains.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the commercial poultry industry uses the HVT. So let me back up a step here too. This is interesting part. Okay. If you vaccinate your breeding stock, they are going to pass some antibodies on to the offspring. Okay. The vaccine that we have access to in the fancy and Gamefowl world, okay, is a cell-free vaccine. What that means is it's subject to being nullified by the antibodies from the breeding stock to the offspring. So that may explain some people, well, I vaccinated, but I still have problems with Marek's. That more than likely explains it, okay? Versus the ones that the commercial poultry industry uses, okay, so ours is freeze-dried, okay? And theirs are frozen in liquid nitrogen. They are cell associated, meaning the virus is contained inside of a cell. So when it goes into the bird's body, it will negate those or keep the antibodies from negating the vaccine. But they still have trouble because they're onto using what I think they use the HVT, they use the SB1, and they use the Rispens. They use 3 different vaccines in one to control it. But there's some more stuff coming along that way, and I read a lot. And so that's sometimes too much. I feel like it's falling out of my head. I can't remember. But there, you may or may not know that and this is information for you as far as your genetics and breeding and what you do. The broilers breeders are actually having issues, and they always have had issues with the males. Okay. You can't put a flock together, males and females, and then take those males all the way to the end. I forget how many weeks it is they go, then they have to pull them out because they just don't perform.
Really?
Yep. And then they would spike that flock with fresh males. And I'm not sure whether they do that once or twice during the lifetime of that flock, but it upsets everything. You can just imagine a house of, let's say, I don't know, they could 10, 15, 20,000 breeders in there. And you come in and, snatch all the males out and then put all new ones in. There's a bloody fight for territory.
Yeah.
And the males put on too much weight, so they have to be feed restricted. So they put a pin through their nose. I guess they're still doing that, which doesn't allow them to get into all of the feeders that are in the place. Okay. Wow. It's kind of an interesting thing. Mm-hmm. And there's a grill on the feeder that keeps them from getting into the feed because of that bar that goes through the nostril. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But
wow.
But and so getting back to that, and this, I'll get you all the information because this is going to be more up your alley.
Yeah.
There's a company now that has evidently perfected, so they say. Okay, when you scale it up, it might not be the same, but they're taking commercial white egg-laying hens. Okay, and they're taking some DNA material, that's I'll call it for lack of better terms, from these birds and putting it into the commercial laying hens so that they'll produce enough eggs for the broiler breeders. So they may not need them going forward. Technology is moving really far. I'll get you the name of the company and you can deal with that directly and go to their website and look at all the stuff they're doing. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's off the chart.
Yeah. If you want to cover this any further, just send me some information, what you want to talk about. And
yeah, we can talk about it. I'm not an expert on that, but I just think it's fascinating stuff.
I just mean on Marek's because.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. We can do that.
Especially on Marek's.
Yeah.
That might be a good one to cover again.
I'll put something together on it.
But this is going to be a really good topic on building stronger bloodlines from the inside out, the crucial role of the gut when it comes to breeding, or actually just keeping them alive, But this is something I don't know if you and I have ever covered it, or even I don't even know if Dr. Gallardo has covered it, but I know both of you have discussed it I mean, it came up in the topic numerous times, but we never did a whole show on it, I don't think. But so it seems like the gut is like the barrier, the first line of defense, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
the gut is where most of the immune cells reside, about 60%, and that goes for humans too. So about 60% of your immune system resides in your gut, as well as the chicken's gut. Same thing. Okay. So anytime you get an unhealthy gut, you have an impaired immune system. And a lot of people do it unknowingly by feeding all kinds of junk to their birds. I'm not a big fan of scratch. I know there's other people that think it's great, but I don't. Especially if it has a lot of wheat in it. And sometimes the wheat is a little on the green side and it'll cause problems. It's hard for the birds to digest as well. So there's other issues with that, but there's every other treat that's on the market. Everything it's like candy for them now. That mealworms are good, but giving them in crazy amounts is not good either. So you upset that fine balance, okay, in the bird's gut, and so you have birds that constantly have diarrhea, and when you have diarrhea like that, you invite all kinds of other problems. And so when you upset that pH of the gut. And so, probiotics can help with that. And that's what we were talking about. I think we talked about it one time, a long time ago. We just talked about the probiotic itself, but we really didn't go into the, deeply into the gut itself. We just talked about what a probiotic was and that kind of stuff. And
but your article talks about multi-species probiotics. Is that?
Well, they're all like that. Okay.
That's what I was wondering. Okay.
Yeah. And there's other ones that are out there now that are more complicated. I don't really get into them. I just don't. You can go too far with things sometimes. We've been very successful with these, and there's no reason to move on to something else. The commercial poultry industry, they don't always use them either, because if they can't see a return on their investment, they're not going to use it. And they don't live that long either, but they do use some. But so we always look at it, like I said, it is where the immune system is really important, and most people don't know that, so they don't think about it. And when you get this upset of the intestinal tract, you get a flushing of the gut too, and you start to see not only the green diarrhea, but you see a lot of water. It affects everything in that in the gut itself. So. Like I say, when I say we, over the years, I've given these things out to people to use and gotten their feedback of good, bad, or indifferent. And that's how you'll find things on my website you won't find anywhere else. I don't sell the run-of-the-mill stuff that people are screaming from the treetops about. And I just a poor marketer, I guess, but it's just the way.
But hey, wouldn't it be nifty if you could just cut off a piece of that Band-Aid and swallow it so you could keep having them cheeseburgers and French fries and all that.
Only that easy, Nancy.
That's just me being a smart ass.
But so what's going on in the gut is it's kind of like a fight for dominance, the good bacteria versus the bad bacteria. And same thing goes on in your own gut. So when you sit down and if you're an ice cream lover, and I've known some people that could really down some ice cream at a sitting, but not me. But that addition of all the sugar and all the fat that is in there will cause you yourself to have diarrhea. Same thing with chicken when they eat too much junk. So they get that same imbalance. And you don't realize that you're inviting then trouble. Okay. So it's it's the first line of defense, really, when you come right down to it. Think about the chicken. The other reason is that they're pecking around on the ground. They're picking up all kinds of garbage. They'll eat anything. Okay. I mean, you know that. Don't leave a dead carcass around somewhere for a few hours and go do some chores somewhere. You come back and be nothing but bone. So, it's, people think because chickens are willing to eat something that is good for them. And years ago, I had a guy called me, and he had a bird that was crop bound, we did everything under the sun and trying to get whatever was in the crop out. And so I said, maybe you should get yourself an X-Acto knife or a scalpel if you can find one, and just make a small incision in the crop, and put a pair of tweezers in there and pull out whatever in there, because obviously not going to get it out the other way. Well, he took that advice. He did that, and he called me back, and he said they'd eaten a banana peel. I said, well, where'd they get that from? He said, well, I thought it'd be good for him. Well, it's not. And one of the reasons is that there's no digestion really takes place there. So there's no place for it to go.
Yeah.
Okay. So if they ate it, doesn't necessarily mean it's good for them,
Yeah. It's not going to break it down in the crop.
No, not at all.
Nope.
Not at all. And again, people would feed them a lot of grass that just wads up in there in a ball, and it's tough to get out. Tough to get out.
Yeah.
What about table scraps? What's your opinion on table scraps?
Now and then it's fine. I don't think there should be a human garbage can for you, but I'm just, what's the point? What's the point of going to the store and buying a high-priced feed or an organic feed that you're paying crazy money for? Okay, they call it a complete feed for a reason. Everything that bird needs to thrive and grow is in there. All the vitamins, all the minerals, all the protein, all the carbohydrates, it's all there. So it's no different than you as a parent having a whining child over here that wants a snack before dinner, and you give them the Twinkie or two, and comes dinner time, then you moan and groan and then won't eat dinner. Chickens are the same way. Chickens will know that you're going to put out scratch grains at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or whatever when you get home from work, and you're going to be there, and they will be waiting on you.
They don't forget.
No, they don't. They know mama's coming with scraps, or daddy's coming with scraps, or whatever. So they don't eat. And then you wonder why egg production suffers. You've got soft eggshells. You've got all kinds of other things. Growing chickens got skeletal issues, feather issues, the whole 9 yards. So you're better off if you don't do it. Okay. They won't feel, you won't hurt their feelings. You won't.
Yeah. We used to have the 10% rule where we would give, feed them the complete feed, but we would give them little snacks in here. And as long as we didn't, give them too much, we stayed within the 10% rule. We thought we were fine until we started feeding things that, I don't know, maybe they were moldy, maybe there was something going on with it. I didn't know, but I noticed that every time we gave them something was going on with them. They just weren't as good as they were. They were starting to look bad. So I told Nancy from then on, no more. And we never had a problem since. So it's just, I think you're right. I think it's best just to stay away from that stuff.
I just know it because I deal with it every day. At least once a day, I'll have somebody that's got a bird that's got chronic diarrhea. And look, let's face it, by the time they get to me, most of these birds are emaciated. They're not eating, they're crop bound, or all these other things. And, we have to go through a lot of gyrations to try and bring them back to life. Most of the time, like I said, when birds get to me, they're on death's door for the most part. Most of them, not all of them, but a good portion of them. And people want to go online and they want to, and it doesn't mean that some of the natural remedies won't work. They do. I've got people that have been using the oil of oregano that I sell, for 15 years, and it's the number one selling product in the company, and their birds aren't sick. It helps modulate the gut bacteria and the gut health. And I've got one fellow up in New England. He's been on it now 15 years. He was one of my first customers. And he buys 3 bottles a month, and he swears by it. He's got a menagerie of animals. They all get it in their water, the goats and the ducks and the geese and the chickens and everybody. The dogs drink it out of the water, and everybody. And he used to buy a boatload of medication from me. He buys nothing anymore, zero. And I mean, you can do it. You just have to be wanting to do it, and not everything has to have a medication, not everything,
Well, this is my take on, extra foods. People food is for people. Chicken feed is for chickens, cat food's for cats, things like that. So I'm not a big fan of table scraps and things out of the garden. I mean, if they're out foraging, the chickens are picking what they want to eat. But I mean, there's a lot of times when you're throwing stuff from your garden that has gone bad that you couldn't eat, you wouldn't eat. So why are you feeding it to your chickens? And there's a lot of backyard raisers that don't know better. And of course, the chickens love them because they're coming up and, oh, my chickens love me because I'm giving them treats and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, they don't realize that they're doing more harm than good.
It's some of it comes from not wanting to waste something they think is still good.
Yeah.
Cleaning out your refrigerator and throwing out stuff that, I mean, I'm horrible at. I'm no cook by any stretch of imagination. I throw out more stuff than you can shake a stick at.
Me too.
Not good for my budget, but
Mostly because she leaves it on the counter overnight and forgets about it.
No, I haven't done that in a while.
I'm not that bad. I just leave it in the refrigerator till.
Yeah, no, I haven't done that in a while. But I'll go to the grocery store and I'll get all ambitious. Oh, I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make that. And
it just rots in the refrigerator. Yeah.
And yeah, I get busy and I forget about it because I got 2 refrigerators, one in the garage. And if the vegetables are in the garage, out of sight, out of mind. And yeah,
I have just gotten to the point where I don't care about any of it. To be honest with you. I got to eat, so maybe I'll go out to eat or whatever, which is not necessarily good either. But
yeah,
I don't do McDonald's and that kind of stuff. I don't do that. But no, I throw away a lot of stuff. Milk, especially. God Almighty, I have milk and almost a year old in the refrigerator.
Ooh.
You know what happens to it after it's like in a gallon container?
I'm not coming to your house.
It starts to grow, It starts to.
No, it actually separates in the container. All the fats go to the bottom, and the liquid goes to the top, and then it bulges out like it's going to explode.
Someday it will. Then you'll be sorry. All right, guys, where are we on the outline?
Well, I got a question.
What about gross?
What about stress? How does that affect the gut and the immune system?
Oh, the same thing. Okay, same as it would humans. Okay, it's probably more hormonal than anything else, but they will go into a situation where they're, the green diarrhea, because basically they go away from eating. Okay, when they're under stress, they'll stop eating, and then you have the gallbladder, dumping in material into the gut that's not really being digested, comes out the back end. So and then sometimes it's what they eat that gets them out of whack, because your basic bacteria that's in the gut is E. coli. Okay. The probiotic has a lot of different, Lactobacillus acidophilus is the main ingredient, and it's got a lot of other players that are in it. But that is designed to keep the E. coli in check. As long as it stays in its area of the intestine, it's fine, because we all need it. You have it in your intestine. I have it in mine. Everybody does it. Almost every animal on earth has it as part of the digestive process. But it's when it gets too numerous, just like coccidiosis. Most people don't understand that. I'm still trying to explain it to people, but they don't get it. Okay. They all want to use a Bacox or a Toltrazole or whatever. That just wipes out all the cocci, period.
Yeah.
There isn't any. So if you don't use it on a regular basis, you're going to have problems. And they just can't get it through their head. They buy a bottle and they use it, and then they don't do anything. And cocci comes right back, and this doesn't work. Well, it worked. It just doesn't work forever.
Well, what they don't understand too is you need some cocci and worms in a small number for a good digestive health, and they want to always kill every bit of it all the time. They're using strict, stringent chemicals like copper sulfate. They're using chlorid, amprolium, even when they don't need it, just to prevent it. I understand prevention's better than the cure, but they're giving medications for that prevention instead of keeping good management or selectively breeding towards it. So
in the majority of cases, okay, and the oil of oregano will generally stop the worms and stop the cocci. If you use it, the problem with natural products, okay, turmeric, same way. If you don't use it every day, leave it in a bottle. because it's not going to be beneficial. You can't use it today and not tomorrow. So, but if you can get yourself in the routine of doing that, okay, it's so powerful, this product. It takes 6/1/10 of a cc per gallon of water. So a 2-ounce bottle will do 100 gallons of water. It's crazy, and it works. I mean, I have major breeders that use it, buy it regularly. You know, not at liberty to share their names, obviously, but I have, you know, Walt up in Connecticut. That's where he's from. I can use his name. He's on Facebook and everything else. No, we're good friends. We're both, you know, he's a Marine, I'm Navy, and you know, known each other for years. But you know, he'll tell you he uses it every day in the water, and everybody gets it, and the goats get it, the sheep get it, the pigs get it, everybody gets it, and it's a good product. But that's the only time I would use something like that, a natural product. I would never use myself, you know, but, you know, the people I have to deal with, you know, we have to use either Amprol or Cord. Cord's more popular because you can go to Tractor Supply and you can buy a 16-ounce bottle for, you know, you used to be able to buy it for like $12. I think it's up to 20 now.
Is it still available? I didn't know it's still available.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The reason you can't get Amprol, which is labeled for chickens, Amprol and Cord are the same exact thing. There's absolutely no difference in the concentration. It's 9.6% for the liquid, 20% for the powder. Is that the Amprol only comes in a gallon?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was never made for the backyard community at all.
No.
The Cord was never made for the backyard community. That was made in those smaller bottles for the people who have cattle. Okay, that's what it's for. It's labeled for cattle if you look at it. Okay, and it comes in a red and white bottle. The other one's a blue and white bottle. Okay, but both of them do come in a 20% powder. Okay, but I've had people tell me that Cord work better than Amprol, and I go, okay, you say so. Yeah.
I don't even use anything anymore, so I don't know.
Well,
but
you know, you can get away with that. You know, it's doable, but under the conditions that a lot of the folks that I deal with that don't have the time to really spend and do it, they need something. And the issue with both Cord and Amprol is worn out. It's been around since the 50s. So I mean, it's you know, it's lost its punch, and it never did ever get all of the strains of coccidia. In the beginning, it did, because they didn't realize in the beginning there were others than the first 2 or 3. Okay, so as we progressed along to 6, 7, or 8. And the other thing, you know, people say they go to their vet and they get a fecal flotation done, right? And they said, well, you got cocci because they picked up some oocysts. And then they give them something to wipe it out. Well, in dogs, you want that. You want to wipe it out. Okay, you don't want and cats the same thing. All right, but in chickens, just the opposite. You want that balance. You have to have that in order to maintain any kind of immunity. So
yeah, that's why I think getting a lab result is fine, but having somebody interpret it for you is a really good idea, because it could say, like you said, it has oocysts in it.
Right.
Well, it's the amount, it's the loads. It makes a difference. So if you see that in there, you freak out. Oh, I got coccidiosis. No, you don't have coccidiosis. You have coccidia, and that's a good thing. So
if you were to get it done at a poultry laboratory, okay, and they saw some cocci, they would tell you that. Okay, a number of oocysts were present in the sample. End of story, right?
Yeah.
If they saw an abundance of them, they would tell you they were too numerous to count. You got a problem.
Okay,
that's the difference. And they would look, you know, it's a simple fecal flotation. Anybody can do it. You need a no more than 100 power microscope. You can pick them up on Facebook Marketplace for $50-$60, most of them, $100.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do it yourself, then you need to get a McMaster slide. They're probably about $25-$30. But other than that, you can either buy fecal flotation solution, okay, and the procedure is pretty simple. You know, it's just taking a set amount of the fecal flotation solution and a sample of the clean sample, minus as much junk as you can get out of it, and mixing it up, and then putting it on the slide and putting it under the microscope and then counting them. That's it.
Yeah, it's like worms. They're always worming their birds. I'm saying, well, why you worm them? Because I want to keep them free of worms. I'm like, okay, well, are they active? Are they eating well? Are they in good weight? Do they feel good in the hand? Are they alert? Do they show that they're in good health? What about their feathers? Are they dull? Or are they nice and shiny?
Mhm.
And they're like, no, they look great. And then why are you worming them? I mean,
Because I'm worming them, they look great. That's what they
no,
think.
it's bullshit. It's like if I don't see worms in their droppings, and I'll look, if I pick them up and I feel something's wrong, I mean, I might suspect worms, but if they look great, I don't, and if I go out there in the morning, they still have droppings underneath the roost. I might take a quick look, see if I see worms in the droppings. If you're curious, just take some, put it on a board, just take a putty knife and spread it out and look at it, So people are overworming their birds when I don't think they should be. Pete, I haven't wormed my birds in, it could be 20 years now. And I was only worming them before because I was told you were supposed to do that. And then I started listening to other people, like a friend of mine, Doug, who's a geneticist, was talking about the resistance to parasites, the genetic side of it, and that by selecting and culling out the ones that are exposed or showing showing symptoms of worms and coccidiosis, and getting rid of those and keeping ones that are always healthy, that you can get to a point when they're resistant and you won't have that problem. I haven't seen worms. I haven't seen lice and mites. I haven't seen anything like that on my birds in years, so.
Well, everybody was all excited about the safeguard that just came out for backyard flocks and people that want to eat the eggs without any residue in the eggs and stuff. And they made that thing so damn complicated that most people are not going to figure out what they're supposed to do with it. I mean,
is it a paste or a pill or what?
No, it's just it's the same liquid as you would buy in the store. It just comes with a 4 or 5 sheets of paper with different weights of you have to estimate the weight of your chickens or go and weigh them all. But most people know you can look at a chicken and tell it's 4 or 5 pounds, whatever. And just do some simple math, but you got to put it into a specific amount of water, and then you have to drink all that water, within that day. And I've had people call me and say, how the hell do you do this? I said, well, didn't you read the directions? Yeah, but that's.
Well, maybe not.
Well, they and I know why, because the government is making them have such a low residue value that they have to do it that way, and then to make that product available, I have to buy through a distributor. They won't sell it directly to me. It's typical of a company that doesn't know its market. Okay. They did the same thing with that new insecticide that Merck just got approval for, the fluorolaner, okay, called Exult. Okay. It's most people have been importing it from Australia, paying through the nose for a little 2-ounce bottle, like $300. Okay.
Ooh.
It won't be cheap here either. Okay. I can tell you that. They're already going to put it in what did he tell me? I don't know, 2-liter bottle of some damn thing. And here's the kicker. Same company. Okay. The Merck owns Safeguard, product. So they've decided now, because it's not made for you. See, it's not made for the backyard community. Everybody thinks because it's now going to be available. Guess what? It's not.
Is anything? It's all for the commercial, right? So.
Because, and again, this is a product that goes into drinking water. Okay, an insecticide in the drinking water. So I've talked with I'm a direct distributor for Merck. Okay, I buy directly. And so when I heard about it, I called him. I said, put me down for some. So he said, okay. And then next day he called me back. He said, can't do it. I said, what do you mean you can't do it? He said, veterinarians only.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want it, you got to go to your vet. So I figured, okay, I've got a couple, 3 vets I know. He said, they have to tell where it's on an invoice, where it's going within their state, unless they're licensed in multiple states. So, good luck. I mean, somebody will get it somewhere, I'm sure. I'm not even going to mess with it.
Why such a control over it? I don't get
my
it.
guess is, and his guess, my rep's guess was that they probably want to see what the data is. There might be some hoops that Merck has to jump through. Maybe that's the only way they could get it licensed, by some sort of control, because it is going into drinking water. This is different than going on the bird. Okay. Yeah. And it was put to me that there's a little bit of math done. I guess they figure Americans are stupid for math,
Some of us are.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think they're onto something. I don't propose to be a mathematician, especially at my age. At this point, I could care less. Okay, but it's one of those things that so like if you want to use valbazen in the drinking water, okay, I have all of the directions on how to do that. I can give them to you in writing, and when I do that to people, they call me and say, "Can you figure this out for me?" And again, you have to estimate the weight of your flock.
Oh boy.
And just do some basic math. And the valbazen is a little bit stronger than the safeguard fenbendazole. So one's at 10%, the other I think 11.6. It's a little odd numbered, but it's not hard. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it. You know, I mean, geez, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I left math behind a long time ago. Wasn't my forte.
So, Kenny, we have 4 minutes left. That's me doing math. We have a couple questions. Should we do a couple questions? Or?
Well, I don't know. Is there more to it, Pete, that we want to talk about? I mean, we have water quality that has an effect on the gut. We have the feather loss, stress, and what it reveals about your birds. So
as far as the gut is concerned, I mean, it is an important organ, and people don't treat it that way. Okay.
Nope, we like our cheeseburgers.
And so do your chickens. But when you really,
as long as it's 10% of them, though, just keep away from the fries, right?
Exactly. But you know, get a good probiotic and use it on your flock. You'll see wonders after a while.
How long do you think it would take to see for a flock that's seeing some diarrhea, maybe having some effects of poor gut? How long do you think it would take to get their gut back in order?
Your butt.
Yeah, through giving them probiotics.
If you're religious about doing it and changing the water every day, I'd probably say about a week or so. You should, maybe even less. You should start to see some.
That's all. Huh? I thought it'd be longer than that. Okay.
Well, and again, it goes back to, you know, when you're letting them free range. That's another subject. Okay. So when these birds are free ranging, you know what the hell they're eating. You know, so I suggest, okay, and you've probably heard me say this before, people need to become a poop inspector. The best time to look at your bird's droppings are right after you let them out in the morning when they get off the roost. Most people know the chickens by name. So they know Susie sits over here, Joe's over there, Harry's over here, you know, Molly's over there, you know, they know. So you can look at it. So you can see blood, you can see splats and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because chickens, when they go to roost, generally will try to eat as much as they can prior to going to roost, because they're going to digest that within 3 or 4 hours overnight. So that's why when you let them out in the morning, they make a beeline for the feeders. I mean, the food and water, they're right on it, you know. So you can look at the droppings, and you can look and you can see, and you can make adjustments that way, you know. I've been dealing, like I said, with people with birds that I call have the Hershey squirts, so to speak. Okay. And you know, the back end's all nasty.
There goes my ice cream for the night.
There goes dinner tonight.
And it takes more than just a probiotic to straighten it up. So you'd have to look at that balance. And so when it becomes chronic, again, when they come to me, it's been there for weeks or a week at least. So I use a combination of neomycin, bacitracin, and oxytetracycline mixed together. And I mix it in the office and then, you know, send it to them. And we use that and then followed up with a probiotic once you get it back under control. Once you start to see the droppings get nice and tight, then you can knock that off, usually about 5-6 days in that range. And you come back with a probiotic.
I mean, we've talked a little bit about it, but what are the signs of a bird with a poor gut? A bird that has a poor immune system, has a poor gut. If we're looking at the bird, what are the kind of signs we would see?
So a bird that you would consider chronically ill, one that gets sick easily, one that always has that nasty looking butt, your feathers are all dirty, never clean. Other birds are clean. And again, it depends on where you're letting them out, okay, what they're eating, and that kind of stuff. But yeah, poor health, because it is the first line of defense. Everything they eat has to go through there, and that's where the immune cells are. And there's a mucus layer. You got that picture, Kenny? You want to throw that up?
Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Sorry about
That's
that.
all right. Because we talk about villi, okay? All right. So if you were to look at this picture, these little fingers that are standing up, those are the villi, okay? In the middle, in between, in the valley, okay, that's where the immune cells are, and there's a mucus layer that fits over them, okay? So as these villi move the food back and forth, I say, you remember the pictures they used to show on TV when the network was shutting down for the night and played the national anthem, American flag, and showed you the wheat fields out west and the amber waves of grain and stuff and going back and forth. It's kind of like the same thing. It's the same process, back and forth, back and forth. And as it does that, the nutrients are absorbed down here in this valley. So when you get coccidiosis, it has a tendency to cut these off at the top. So you only have little nubs. Okay.
Do they grow back?
They can, depending on, they'll grow back, but they grow back impaired. Okay. And so that's where the bleeding comes from. When you see coccidiosis, you'll see that that's what's happening. They're making that gut bleed. They're impairing the immune system. And that's where you have all these unhealthy birds. So this is depicting the blue is the good guys, the red crawly things, that's the bad guys. You want more of the blue than the red. And you want what we call a symbiotic balance. You get that balance between more good guys putting more good bacteria into the gut, making digestion better, and so on and so forth. And you not having to come back and take out all the bad guys, because then you've got to restore gut health again. Okay. So you mentioned water. Okay. Yeah. We can go through that real quick. It's pretty simple. All of the minerals that are in the water also can affect the bird's gut. So if you got crappy water, if your water in your house is not drinkable, your chickens probably shouldn't be drinking it either. Okay. And I've got some people I know that have water that they cannot drink. It just you can bathe in it and you can wash dishes in it, but you'll never get it past your nose.
Should anybody be drinking out of the faucet? I'm not so sure anymore. So
You
I don't know about that. We did as kids, and I'm surprised we're still alive, tell you the truth. But.
Yeah, so it's the hardness of the water, how much iron you have in your water, that kind of thing that can all affect how nutrients are absorbed. Okay, so that's pretty much the story on that aspect of it. And you can take a water sample generally down to your health department. And if they don't do it, they'll direct you to who in the county or city or whatever does and can analyze your water for you and see where it's at. To me, all these things that play into it, it's generally no one thing all by itself, other than the diseases themselves. Cocci is, that's a real problem. Worms, okay, just depending on what kind you got. The most common is roundworms. Okay. And, I would encourage people to look into some things. I've always given this challenge out to people, and they can take it for whatever it's worth. But if they went to my website and they bought the oil of oregano and they were not satisfied with it, I'll give you money back, including the shipping. I've never had to do it. Never.
It's laziness, Pete. They just want to deal with it most of the time. Yeah.
Yep. And that we've proven in our own, quasi research stuff that I do, and get feedback from clients that I've given stuff to over the years or whatever, that so in cases of worms, we've been able to use the oil of oregano and the worms go away. So what better thing can you have? And it's knowing what you're buying. And I have a flyer that I put in with orders and that kind of stuff to try to explain it. And like I said, it's a good product that moves pretty well. And the same thing I have, so we can get into absorption. Okay. So if you want to get the maximum absorption, birds need trace minerals. So if you look at eggs, we always talk about calcium, right? And we talk about calcium deficiency, calcium. Well, actually, it takes calcium, zinc, and magnesium in proper amounts to make a good hard shell. So you can be working on your calcium and getting your calcium up and still have eggs that are thin shelled, and again, can't be being caused by some other disease like bird that's been through bronchitis or something like that, where you would expect that. Okay. But you shouldn't be getting rubber eggs. You shouldn't be getting thin shelled eggs. You should be getting nice solid shells. So all of that goes to, so I always give this example because I have pigeon people that do this. Okay. And so they want to give iron to their birds. And instead of getting a good iron supplement, they just take a nail and put it in the water. And their idea is they're giving them iron. Well, yes, you are, but not in any form that they'll ever use in your lifetime, the bird's lifetime, my lifetime, and your children's lifetime. It's not absorbable that way. Okay. So I have, we call it trace min chelate on my website, and it's pretty popular. Okay. And so what it is, it's a group of trace minerals, and they are chelated. Now, chelation is the attachment of those minerals to a readily absorbed amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of life. No animal can live without them. Got to have them. Some are essential, some are non-essential. Okay. But it's attached to an amino acid. And what that means is that it's absorbed in the gut almost immediately within hours. Okay. It doesn't have to go through the digestive process. It's just sucked up. And it takes those minerals and puts them in a position where they don't have to be broken down. I guess you could look at it as a form of vitamins being methylated. Methylated vitamins are vitamins that have kind of already been pre-digested. Okay. You see that a lot in human health these days. Again, that goes to the absorption factor too. You can take all the vitamins you want, but if they're in a form, and a lot of your cheap vitamins are that way, you might as well leave them in the bottle because they're not going to do you any good, you know. So those kinds of things are, to me, are important. Again, you can buy the best feed, but can the bird break it down and get everything it needs out of that feed? Because most of these feed companies, even the higher end ones, you're still going to be getting ones that are using least cost formulations. So they'll go on a commodities market and they'll buy whatever is the cheapest that's going to get them to the protein level they want or whatever. And it's done all the time. Commercial poultry industry does it. Bakery waste. What's the other way? Wheat midds, the outer coating of the wheat kernel. All that stuff. It's all edible, and they'll put it in their feed. So one of the best things a person can do anyway when they're buying feed is get a feed tag and learn how to read it and see what's in it. It'll tell you right on the tag what's in it. And, it's just a matter of reading it and understanding it. Somewhere I've got a whole slide set on that. I got to look for it amongst my junk in my office.
That'd be really interesting to see. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, what are your thoughts on this, Peter? Kiku says, I personally don't find it ideal for the chickens that he's noticed to become sick he's noticed his chickens don't get sick if they're free ranging a lot. They've got more resilience. The ones that are pinned up all the time seem to get sick more often.
Well, that goes back to exposure. I mean, you can't build an immunity to things that you haven't been exposed to.
That's right.
So,
but you can get actually overexposure if you're in the coop. So I do.
You're only getting it gradually. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. The only drawback to free ranging is that, and again, if you know your property, that's one thing, but you don't know what's died. They've eaten it.
That's true too.
What kind of berries they've eaten that make them sick because they ate too many of them. It's not because it was poisonous, just overindulged, just like humans. We talked about it before, waiting on you to come out and throw the scratch or the mealworms or whatever,
Yeah. So there's some pros and cons to it.
Yeah.
Everything.
I like free range,
Overall it's good.
Yeah. I think if one of the other things people can do if they have limited space, even if they have a run, as long as you can get some sun exposure in the run, is you can make a grazing frame. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's just a 2x4 frame with half by half welded wire on top of it so the legs don't fall through. And then you cultivate the ground, put that over top of it, or seed it first with whatever you want to put in. Kale is a good one. It'll grow up through that, and they can't get in it and dig in it and sunbathe in it and everything else. And when you've torn it up, just pick it up and reseed it again. It's a cheap way of keeping them busy, especially if you've got fighters. Got a couple of males running around with the females and stuff, and they get into fighting and stuff. So I found that as a very effective way of maintaining control. So
yeah,
there you go. That's an idea. And then we've got, do you know, Peter, is there a certain time of the year where birds are more prominent to getting sick, diseases? Is it the winter time, maybe?
I assume it depends on where you live, but if you live in a cold climate, sure, they're going to be bundled up a little bit more in a chicken coop. You're probably not going to let them out, or they may not want to go out, depending on the weather. And then the other one is rain. If they can't get in out of the rain, I'm dealing with a situation now where I believe the birds must have gotten wet somewhere along the line. It's a small backyard flock, and I believe they've got what I call a body fungal infection, similar to Favis. It may even be Favis. It's so hard to see between the feathers. Looks more like scabbing, but there are no mites at all. So in that case, we give them ketoconazole baths. And you can go into Walmart and drugstore or whatever and buy Nizoral shampoo. And the spots that are really bad, just take it right out of the bottle and rub it on those spots. And then after that, give them a bath in it and, do that for a couple of days in a row. You'll get it under control as a general rule.
What do you think of this? It seems like to me that certain diseases, I don't think it's just one time of the year or one part of the year. You get different types of diseases in different times of the year. Like the winter, you see a lot of respiratory diseases. Mm-hmm. In the summer and fall, you see a lot of coccidiosis and pox and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to say that one disease, one time of certain time of year has more of effect on diseases than others. I just think the diseases are different at different times of the year.
Yeah, and again, if you've got mycoplasma in your flock, it isn't going away. You can medicate, you can vaccinate, but it's not going to go away. It's
a vertical disease. It's I call it a breeder disease. So
that comes through the egg. And the interesting part about it, unless things have changed, is that there needs to be an active infection going on in the breeding stock. Otherwise, it won't be passed on. So that's something for somebody else to do. I don't have the time.
So if you can keep them stress-free and are not expressing the disease or not symptomatic, then they don't pass it, mycoplasma?
Yeah, as long as they're not showing it. That's what research in years past, and I believe that was done by Glisson and Clevin from University of Georgia back in the 60s or so. You can look up their stuff. They were two great guys with mycoplasma.
Because if you can keep them stress-free and healthy, then you should be able to get by it.
No, because it's a dormant disease. It's brought out by stress. So it just kind of like hangs around, and then as soon as they get stressed, it'll come back. Okay. That's why we usually don't see it in baby chicks, but we do see it in birds that are mycoplasma
I thought you were saying that if they're not expressing it or they're not having issues with it, then they don't pass it.
Right.
Okay. I'm a little confused.
and I don't know why. I don't think that was ever explained, but I know I know that to be true, at least back then. Now things may have changed. I don't keep up with that end of it quite as much. It's I just look at it this way. If you've got it, there are ways to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And that's by testing. I tell people one of the things I start with, and that question is, how many breeders do you have? Okay. There's no point in testing all your birds on your yard. If you feel you've got mycoplasma, test the breeders, eliminate the positive ones, keep the negative ones. And if they're all positive, then you got a decision to make. Start over, maybe. Or you can take the eggs and you can egg dip. That's possible. Okay. Expensive, but possible.
Yeah. Would you say that because the tropics are a very
humid climate and warm climate, that there are more possibilities of getting birds getting sick there than say here in the States where we have 4 seasons?
I have a problem with that because
I can't say yes or no because I deal with people from all over and
Well,
it doesn't seem to be any one particular. I will tell you this, and Kenny alluded to it before. He said laziness. I think people get overwhelmed. I know people that have way too many chickens for what their backside can handle. Okay. And it's hard to get up every morning and do that, go to work, come home, feed the kids, and go out and take care of a flock of chickens. 5 or 6, yeah, that's pretty easy. The kids can take care of that. But when you've got, all these people
100.
going for these exotic breeds too, which are again, bringing in more issues. I can't say they're bringing in more disease, but when you breed birds to look the way they do, you have to expect that you're going to be having birds that their immune systems aren't as strong. They just aren't. I don't want to knock silkies at all, but I love the birds. They're beautiful, but my God, you breathe on them and they start looking at the sky and circling.
Oh man,
they do.
Let's put it this way. I've got breeders in the academy, the Breeders' Academy, that live in the Philippines. And people in the Philippines say that without the medications, their birds would die. Okay. My opinion, and this is what my breeders, my students practice, is selecting for the healthy, getting rid of the sick, having good biosecurity. Anytime you bring in new birds, you're bringing in a new sickness. Okay. Until you can stop that flow of birds coming in and you stop outcrossing and bringing in genetically or through breeding, you're never going to get there. So I don't care how their environment is. It's how you practice. It's the husbandry practices that you're using, the way you're breeding them, and how you're exposing or not exposing them to other birds. And in the Philippines, there's birds everywhere. So they're always bringing in new birds. They're trading birds, selling birds, buying birds, and they're always introducing those diseases. And they'll never get ahead of the game until they can do that.
So there's a way to do that. If you're going to be bringing birds into your flock, and let's say you have a positive flock, and you're bringing birds in, you don't want to bring in more positive birds. That's counterproductive. So what you can do is, and the breeder has to work with you. But see, here's what I've found over the years. Most people, don't want to know what they've got in their flock. I'm telling you, I'm just telling you straight up. I'm not picking on anybody. I see it every day. Okay. Because I propose this. If you want to sell chickens and you want to get top dollar for your chickens, all right, wouldn't it behoove you to take all of your chickens and have them tested? So what? It costs you $500. So what? Now you have paper. Okay. Says this is what I got. And maybe if you're lucky, you don't have anything. Now you can prove it. When Kenny wants to buy birds from me, I say, they're healthy. I can prove it. My birds just went up $50, $100 more. You'll recoup that $500 overnight, but they won't do it.
It's not that they won't do it. It's that they don't have to do it. People aren't demanding it. They have to demand it before the people will do it. And as long as the people are going to pay top dollar and not force them to test their birds or actually breed towards health, resistance, and get away from the medications, then they're going to keep doing it because as well as I do, there are a lot of times they're using the medications just to get them healthy enough that they can sell them. And then they're the other guy's problem. It's not that they won't, it's just that they're not forced to do it. Yeah. That's the difference.
Well, in the Gamefowl game, you call them feather merchants and
peddlers.
And we have feather
You're nicer
merchants.
than me.
We have feather merchants on the other side here too. And look, there are plenty of people that are trying to do it right and don't want to sell sick birds, but there are that group that are not interested in that aspect of it. Don't want to spend the money, and it can be costly. I mean, if the cheapest place to get it done is I forget the name of the lab right off the top of my head, but down in Texas, and it's like $25 a test. And so if you're going to test one bird for multiple tests, you can spend $100 a bird easy. The 4 major ones. I don't think you have to worry about Newcastle too much because you could see that on a bird. But certainly, mycoplasma, probably bronchitis, maybe MS too, because I'm getting a lot of people now MS positive. And it's trying to train people to do things. For instance, I've had a lot of people with eye issues lately. You got to get on that thing as soon as it starts to weep. You can't wait till these eyes are swollen so bad that you have to cut the eye lid on the bottom and pull out all this goop and stuff. You're just inviting trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And what I encourage people to do is learn how to nasal flush. It's real simple. I have directions. People want it, I'll be glad to give it to them. It's not a big deal. Mainly in an email. Don't send me an envelope. I'm not doing that. But if you want to email me and you want the directions for nasal flushing, I'll be glad to give it to you. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. You probably have to spend a few dollars to get an antibiotic that's liquid that you can mix with the sterile water. But other than that, it's pretty simple. And you can take that solution. You can put a couple of drops in the eye and get a good eye ointment and put it in the eye at the same time. And I'm working with somebody now that is trying to do that and doing a real good job of it. Just tickled to death that they're making progress, getting all the goop out by nasal flushing. And you put antibiotic up where the problem is. It's just like ear canker, understanding it. I know we're all going off the chart here. We're going all over the place. But when you look at ear canker, that ear canal spirals down into the head. It becomes very, very tiny, the diameter of a straight pin. Okay. And, it's hard to get medication down there when you got a bunch of gop in front of it. And you got to get all of that out first before you can, get the medication down where it goes. But I have all this stuff written down, and if I get this book done, all this stuff will be in there. Treating this book as what I call a case study, so to speak, that's written from, not from the technical side, written from what works. And so we'll have all those things and eyeballs and all that kind of junk. It's making progress, by the way. I have somebody helping me with it. So
good.
Somebody's good at organizing, which I'm not.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait for you to get it done.
I'm waiting. I can't wait to get it off my shoulders because I get more people.
What's this, Nancy?
So Arturo wants to know Doc's thoughts on chlorinated tap water versus well water and the effects on gut health.
Chlorinated water is not all that great, I don't think. I think I'd go with the well water unless it was real garbage. If you can drink that water, get the well water analyzed. It's not that expensive. It's well worth it. And once you get it done, then you can make some. And you want to know in that well water what would be called total dissolved solids. That's all the garbage that's in it, basically. So they should be able to tell you that. But it's worth it. I'm just one of those people I want to know, and that's part of the makeup of who I am. I have a lot of things I know a lot of stuff about that I have on one side of me no business knowing about because I don't know. It's nothing that really affects me personally. I don't know if I ever told you this before, but I'm a ship junkie. I follow ships every day. Yeah. One of the first things I do in the morning when I get up, I look at the app on my phone, see what my favorite ships are, what they're hauling, where they're going, and all that kind of stuff. And then you learn. And what do you learn from that? You learn that they're not the polluters people think they are. Okay. You learn what it takes to get iron ore from Superior and Duluth all the way over to Toledo and Cleveland, and how they to get it up the river there, how they have to take it to a smaller ship that's specially made to make it up through those smaller things up to the mill. To me, it's a fascinating thing how they go through the locks and 21 feet up, 21 feet down, whether they're downbound, upbound, whatever. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, I've never really wondered where my toilet paper comes from or how it's made, but you know, it's pretty doggone important, especially when COVID hit and there was not a piece of toilet paper on the shelf. But no,
all I can tell you is hug a tree.
Yeah. You know, you're right. I mean, there is stuff moving day and night, 24/7, and we just go to the store and get it and don't even think twice about it.
Let me ask you a simple question. Not trying to put you on the spot, but do you know why beef is so expensive today? One of the major reasons?
I do
It doesn't come from here anymore.
It's just annoying.
Well, part of the reason is that we have the lowest amount of feeder cattle on feed in the United States than we've had since the 50s. So just look at the population you were feeding with that number of cattle back in the 50s, okay, versus the population you're trying to feed now. No, not everybody's going to eat beef, obviously, but it's not enough to go around. So now you're going to see imported beef.
Ooh,
okay?
Yeah.
That's not good.
No, it's not. Because until the law changes, okay, once it gets to the states here and it gets cut up, they don't have to tell you where it came from. That's a fact. Now, present administration
chicken's the same way too.
Yeah, but the good ones will tell you. Like, you know, you probably heard me say this before. Purdue's office is right down the street here from me. There's a chicken house across the street here. There's one behind me. They're everywhere here. Okay, on Purdue's packaging, it'll tell you where it was raised here in the United States. They're proud of that fact.
Yeah,
they're proud that they put out a good product that's edible. Okay.
Yeah,
and that they hold to the things that, you know, most people. The commercial poultry industry has done a lousy job over the years of educating the consumer on what they do. They've always tried to hide it. Okay, shouldn't be hidden. It's not what people think. Yeah, there's 50,000 birds in a particular chicken house. It's not like you think. There are people that want you to think it's like that. Okay, yeah, they're going to have dead birds. Yeah, they're going to have crippled birds, and they go through and they kill them. Okay, that's what they do, and you're going to have that when you're doing that. You know, if you got 10 birds in your backyard, it's a different story. Okay. And not all of them are being housed properly either. So, you know, the pot calling the kettle black. It's, you know,
the ways of the world that we live in.
And look, I mean, you know, you got to eat somewhere. I eat Purdue chicken predominantly, you know. Yeah.
Unless you're a chicken farmer, and then you can just eat the ones you got in the backyard that you know what they were eating before you ate them.
Look, I've been eating chicken forever, and I'm still here.
Yeah, exactly.
Still here.
So we have one more question. It's not chicken related, but it's an important question because I know probably 99% of the people here do have a dog or a cat. What can we use on dogs and cats for fleas?
Well, obviously there's Frontline, and the issue with that is most people don't want to pay the money, and to some degree, it's probably losing its punch. Trying to remember the other one. A lot of them are script. That's the problem with them. The one, what's that real expensive one? I can't remember it off the top of my head. I used to sell it. See the bottle. Made by a Landco. It's like $150 a bottle.
Wow.
And there are people who complain about that. They spent the money and it still isn't doing the trick. There are some, and I don't have it. It's a you can look it up online. There is a natural one that is cottonseed oil and another oil mixed together that seems to be pretty good. And they're out of Georgia, I think. I tried to buy it from them. They never got back to me, and I didn't care. You know, you can use.
Frontline's not available.
In a dog and cat little ampules, it's still available as far as I know. The spray that we were getting and using on chickens is not available. And that was made in France. That wasn't even made here. That came in a special shipping container. And I think because of COVID and all that stuff and regulations and stuff, that just went by the wayside. See, the government can get on your case if you have a license to use it on cats and dogs and you knowingly know it's being used somewhere else, they can stop you from selling it. Okay.
So she's not able to get Frontline at all.
Where she live?
Wisconsin, I believe. No,
No.
she's Oklahoma, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah,
For dogs and cats, she wants
for
it?
dogs and cats.
I thought that.
Not
was
on the shelves, she says.
Really?
There must be a lot of fleas going around.
I think I know her, or at least I know the name.
Yeah.
So we got a hold of me. I'll look into it and see if I can get it for her. Sure. I know.
Yeah.
No argument.
Anything you want
cat,
to say before we wrap it up?
I do.
Okay.
My cat's an indoor cat. She doesn't have any fleas because I don't let her outside.
So you
She
don't
doesn't need it. She doesn't need it.
Yeah, so she doesn't need it. But then again, too, we did buy it once. I think it was the one that you suggested for fleas. And I was afraid to use it because I was seeing online that other cats, it was making them sick. Some cats, and you don't know if your cat's allergic to it until you try it. And I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go there. But she's doing okay without any fleas because she's
It's like anything.
Outside.
It's like anything else. I mean, if you watch a commercial for medication for humans, when they run through the list of things that can happen to you by taking it, hell, you'd run away from that bottle.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the way it's tested, okay. So if they have 1,000 people on test, let's say, just for argument's sake, if you have any what they call an untoward reaction, okay, to that medicine, you as part of that study are required to report that to them. So, and that's how that comes about. That's why you see all that stuff. That might have happened one time.
Exactly.
Okay? And it might have happened 100 times. You'll never know, but they have to report it as such. And it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that's how that comes about. I'm very particular when I take, yes, you can use the garlic. Yeah. Garlic isn't what it's cracked up to be all the time. The fresher it is, the better it is, because the active ingredient, which slips my mind right at the moment, dissipates very quickly once the cloves are broken and that kind of thing. But not a bad thing to use overall. It's
Costco has a frontline type product that's a bit cheaper.
It might be where she's looking, but like I said, if she wants to get a hold of me, I'll help her find it. I've got a distributor I can call, and I could actually get it for her. If he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. I'll know. Certain things go on back order, and they don't always call me up and tell me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm looking for a particular vaccine for a client right now, and it's not available.
And I didn't notice it, but my banner was covering the QR code. That QR code takes you to, I believe, to Peter's website. So you can contact him there. Yep. Okay. So anything else?
No, not really. I think,
Okay.
I don't know if we covered all the paperwork that I sent to you, but I think we hit on the highlights of most of it.
Well, I took everything you gave me and made an outline out of it. So it looked like you were covering it pretty good to me.
Okay.
So, and for my members that are going to have all my show notes to this topic with the video. And so make sure to go to the website once I post it and check it out there, because there's a lot more information in there as well.
Yeah, if they want to send me an email and want the paper that I wrote on probiotic, I'll be glad to send it to them free in an email. Okay.
Yep.
Because there's more to it, and I'd have to read them off of a piece of paper to you. All the other things that are in a good probiotic besides just the lactobacillus, but they're more like a supporting cast to keep the lactobacillus going. But they got to be there, and it is water soluble. That's the nice part. You could put it on your feed too if you wanted to, but a lot easier in the water.
Anything, Nancy?
Nope, that's it. Sounds great.
Appreciate it, Pete.
Yep, you're welcome.
This is a good topic. It's one we need to cover from time to time. It's really important.
The next time around, there's another gut issue that we can talk about. I should have kept the thing in front of me, but I didn't. So I'll get to Yeah, I'll get you the whole article so you can see it. It's up and coming. I've run into it a couple of times when you get like a yellow diarrhea that won't go away. That's not that's not cocci. You've tried that and it doesn't work. The only thing that will basically work on this is Denegard.
Denegard. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The stuff they use for dogs, I think it is. Is that the same thing?
No, you know, for mycoplasma in chickens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they call it Teagard now because it's the generic.
Oh,
Same
okay.
thing. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, great. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Appreciate some of the questions we got, and Pete, appreciate it.
Sure.
So we'll see you
problem.
next time. Thanks,
Oh,
guys.
when is
what?
next time?
What? That's
Sorry.
why I asked you. Do you have anything to say before I get out? I had a really good speech. I was working on it, and I was going to do it, and boom, out, and you stopped it. Now I got to start all over again.
No, we got to let them know
Every
when,
time.
because, well, it's not our normal every Friday. So when are we going to be on next?
Good question. Where's my calendar? What is today? I think we'll be on next week, next Tuesday. Tuesday's tough. It's not our normal time. We don't get as many people. It does okay after the show comes out, but it's not good for live. We
What's your best day?
Friday's a good day for us.
Really?
Yeah. It's the
Because
end
people
of the,
don't have to work the next day, and a lot of our people are either overseas or on the East Coast, so
Yeah,
it's
makes
pretty
sense.
late there.
Yeah.
But so it will be the 14th, October 14th,
Yeah,
at
that's-
6
it should
o'clock
be a good day.
San Diego time, California time. I'll see you there.
Okie doke.
Okay, good. Works.